this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, January 6th, 2025. Here for my first weekly update of the year, and my kids are playing in another room across the hall, so if you hear yelling or kid noises, that's that. I love that they still like to play together and be silly, even though they're teenagers now, but so we'll just let them do their thing. They are occupied. So I filmed last on December 28th, so I have about 9 days of progress, I think, to share, and I'm excited. I'm enjoying my stitching. There's been some days that have been too busy to do as much as I would have liked, and other days I've had a lot of time. So, such as vacation days, right? When you have plans with your family or you just kind of chilling. So it's one or the other. And the chillin' days, sometimes I'm also doing other things. Like, I spent some time a couple days ago, I think Saturday, going through and recording start dates for all my projects as far back as I have planners that I can find, which is 2017, which is when I started making videos. I don't have records prior to that, so I think I'm gonna go back in my first like whip parade, I think, and see if I have any like notes that I share in there to maybe get some, because I remember starting a bunch of golden kites and a few other things not that long before I started making videos. I had already been involved in the stitching community as an observer and Instagram user for a little while, so I want to go back and kind of see if I can find a few more dates. But that might play into, if I can't decide what to work on in a certain month, I can pick something that has its like anniversary date in that month. So I thought that'd be kind of fun to know because I've never recorded that before. So I guess we can just jump right in. I still have Temperature Turtles ongoing. I did not finish it this week. I did work on it though, and in the car to and from church, and then during the Broncos game, which we did great. Playing the JV team of the Chiefs. But hey, we're in the playoffs now, so I'm happy about that. So here is this one. This is 28 count Caribbean Blue Jobelin 1/1 full cross. And I filled in several of these patches, and I realized I thought I just had the patches and the back stitching on these three to do, and then I realized, oh, he still needs a head and a flipper. So I gotta do that too. So I'm gonna keep chipping away at this, possibly just next Sunday, I don't know. It's no rush, other than I do have a new Sunday morning stitch for the car that I did start, but then I realized I need to keep working on my temperature turtles, so I didn't actually work on this in the car this week, but I'll show you since I started it. This is Books of the Bible by My Big Toe. And so I'm going to be doing this in the car to and from church instead of a temperature piece, because I did my my most recent temperature design, I model stitched ahead of time so that it's done and ready to go, and I could do all the, tutorial stitches as I was going and stuff like that. So I just got a tiny little start, just a few stitches of the border, and this is Through the Stones by Be Stitch Me, the 25 count, and I'm doing 1/1. So it's really nice. I like their fabric. And there's another one that, yeah, I brought that in here that I started too on their fabric, and it's so lovely. I really like it. So I'm happy I am in that Fabric of the Month club. I'll keep that going for a little while longer. Let's see, I have some Christmas cards in here too. My bag is falling in the cracks. So I have a few Christmas cards from Stitchers, which is always fun. This is from Sue over in Zambia, and she also sent a gift card to Colorado Cross Stitch, which I need to look through that. And I was thinking, as I was kitting up some full coverage starts, for January, I was thinking, you know what I could use? I don't know if Colorado Cross Stitcher carries 40 count, but I was thinking I want to check and see, and maybe I'll look for some like gray, light blue, tan 40 counts that are not like fancy, just solid. See if they have any of that, and for full coverages, because I think that'd be fun. So we'll see. And I got a pretty card from Lynette over in Australia. I think all of these actually are international, which is really cool. And she sent along a sweet little pattern for my daughter, which is so sweet. And when when my daughter saw it, she's like, "Oh, it's so cute!" So she loves it. So I'm like, "Can I keep this until I finish showing it, and then I'll give it back to you?" So she's excited for that one. She's collecting her own little fabric stash in there. And then I got a card from Dawn. Come on. Frosty X Stitch. Super sweet little scene there with a mommy and 3 kids. It's very, very cute. Too bad there's a dog. I don't see any cats, but that's okay. These dogs are nice too. Thank you, Dawn. And then a beautiful homemade card from Desiree that she made herself. Isn't this so spectacular? It's like really 3D, and this is stitched, all these lines around here, and it sparkles. Woohoo! That's so pretty. So thank you, Desiree. That's really pretty. I might have to do something with that to display it, not just tuck it away like I do some of my other ones. So, okay, and I also, let's see, travel stitching. I did a little bit. I did some, there's just been a couple occasions. My kids had some appointments and things like that, so not a whole lot of opportunity to work on this, but I had a little bit. I'm doing Cats and Hearts December. This will continue to be my travel stitch whenever I have opportunity, until it's done. And then I'll work on May and November. And then when this series is done, I have plans for a little series the Fat Quarter Shop is doing, assuming they come in the little packages that they send me periodically. Otherwise, I might work on, there's some really pretty little flowers by Victoria Sampler in their Facebook group this year that are really cute and small. But I also might, if I decide not to do the flower like seed packet things from the Fat Quarter Shop, I might just pull out some of my whips, and we'll see if any of those would make a good travel stitch. But I do like things that are small physically, because then I can take them anywhere. And so this is 25 count white even weave, 1/1 full cross. I finished all the golds cross stitching and did a good amount of work on the cat. When I'm sitting in a doctor's office and I might be interrupted, it's nice to just do gray, because then I could just go back and forth and like not worry about counting so much. Okay. I've been working on my temperature daily 30 pieces ever since I filmed on the 28th, because it was just so much fun coming to you and showing you the 10 projects that I picked that I'll choose to do 30 minutes on that day based on the temperature, the recorded temperature high for the day before. That's how I'm playing mine. So for example, on the 28th, the day I filmed, the day before was a high of 65. So I worked on the piece that I had chosen for the number 5. So the second digit of the temperature is the one I picked. I have a project assigned to 0 through 9. So I will show you all of those. I've worked on them now for 9 days, except for one. New Year's Day, I did not get any work done on it. But I started 2 things that were not my main projects for the day. So, and just did a length thread on each of those. So just because I was doing all of that, and I don't know what else I was doing. I don't have anything else written down, but we took down Christmas and, you know, whatever. So I didn't get to my 30 minutes on that day, but I did all the other days. So it's been fun. So I'll show you the ones I worked on. I don't think I got to all of them, but I did Christmas Visit this is by Butternut Road. And I worked on this on the 28th. That's the first one that got called. And I've got only 8 stitches, but then I did a lot of back stitching in that half hour. So I got more done on the background there. This is 46 count linen by Lakeside Linens, I think. It's Vintage Misty Rain, 1/2 full cross. And then the back stitch is 1 strand. So I think next time this gets called, I think I'll count to some of the back stitching that's here in the middle on the door, which then will let me count to her hair and start in on her head, which will be fun to get some colors. And I am doing a color conversion on this as well to change her dress from gray to blue. So all the other colors, oh, and these colors, these grays, are different than what was called for because it didn't really match my fabric very well, what was called for. So I am adjusting the background colors too. So that'll be fun to keep working on here and there for 30 minutes. On the 29th, I got to work on Celtic Ladies Sampler, which was fun because this would have been the day I would have worked on this for my seasonal Sunday, and I ended up working on it for the 30 minutes. So at least I got to pull it out some, which is nice. I think this is the only time this one came out. I worked in the winter quadrant, and I'll keep working on the winter quadrant every time it comes up in my temperature daily 30 until March 21st or whenever the first day of spring is. So, and then I'll move over to spring. So this one should get several months here of time, little bits sprinkled throughout whenever it comes up as my daily 30. It only came up once in the last 9 days, so you never know. It could come up 3 times. So we'll see. Here is all of it. And here is the winter before and after. This is 32 count lamb's wool linen, 2/2 full cross for everything. And I am working in the hair. So I thought I would go ahead and finish the hair stitches before I work on the skin, just because there's a few spots in here where the hair is first, and I think the skin stitches will look nicer if they're put in second. So I'll go ahead and I have more hair color on my needle, so I'll finish that. I think I'm on this. There might be 2 more colors to go in her hair, and none of the hair bands are done on all of them. Let's see, these 2 I think have all the cross stitches done, but there's still beads left that I haven't put in there yet, and this one has a few more cross stitches left to go. So I don't necessarily need to do that before I can do her face, but I want to at least get her actual hair done. And I am doing a color conversion on her and Summer. I did a color conversion on Summer as well. So that's fun. That one was for the number 4. That one came out. The temperature was 74. So it went from 65 to 74. Then we did Bees on a Flower, which was fun. Down to 69 for this one at the high. And this is Bees on a Flower. I got this at mybobbin.com by Ina Badenko. And this was my birthday start this year, I think. So it was fun to get this out again. It had been a while since I worked on it. Well, I guess since my birthday, but didn't get a lot of time. So it was fun to pull this out. So I got, let's see, on my Celtic Ladies, I did 81 stitches in the half hour. This one I got 71 stitches. It's now at 2.25%. This is on a 28 count Lugana in Berkshire Hive. Very faint honeycomb pattern there. And I worked, I wanted to start from the top down. So the closest thing to this toppest point I'd been at before, the dark gray was what I did last time, was this other light gray. So this is now the tippity top of the pattern. And I'm kind of filling in, I just worked on a bunch of that light gray color. So next time this gets called for the temperatures, I'll keep working here up in the top and kind of try to pull it down evenly like I like to do with my kind of temperature stitching, picking the symbols block by block along the top and then kind of moving my way down. Using up the string once I pick the symbol. So I like doing it that way. It kind of takes away some decision fatigue of what should I work on next. I just let the pattern tell me what to work on next, and that kind of makes it go a little faster, and I don't avoid confetti that way, which is also nice because sometimes I might be prone to avoid the confetti and then I'm just stuck with it at the end. So if I let the block tell me that's the next symbol you need to pick, I'll just do it and get it over with, rip the Band-Aid off and just move on. So it's kind of nice to do it that way. And then the next day was 72. This one is Simpsons. This one came out just the one time as well, I think. This is for my husband. And I got, I just worked a little bit in his arm, which was nice. Solid stitching. So I got 165 half stitches. So here's this one, 40 count Verdal 1/1 half cross, super tiny, and I worked over here in his arm and just kind of pulled that down. So quite a few half stitches, which is nice. This is now at 62.88%. And this is the day that I didn't get anything else worked on. I just did this. I don't know what else I was doing during the day. Can't remember anymore. It's been too long. But I think I was hoping to get back to my Whipco piece that I was, my Mirabilia. And we ended up starting a game right after dinner and then working on it till like 12:30 after midnight. We paused a couple times for food and, you know, watching the ball drop, and then it took 5 hours to play this game. We'd never played it before, so the first, you know, hour or so we're just kind of figuring out what we're doing, and it was terraforming Mars, if you've ever heard of it, and it was really fun. So once we got the hang of it, it went well, but it took a long time. So normally, I think now that we know what we're doing, it won't take that long, but so I never got back to my Whipco piece. I'll keep doing the temperature stitching, and then I'll go back and go my like regular projects for the day and show you the rest of those. So going into the new year, the first piece I should have done on New Year's Day was Cupcake Dreams with the temperature of 70. I did not work on it that day, but it did get called. We had another day of 70 for the 4th. So I worked on it then. And I was tempted to try to do a whole hour on the 4th, but I'm like, I don't really have time for that. So I just decided to just do a half hour and call it good. So I worked on Cupcake Dreams for 1/2 hour instead of 2, just because the way life happens. This was a former freebie by Tilton Crafts. You can still find a larger version with a whole bunch of cupcakes on their website that includes this one. And I got, where is it now? 89 stitches and finished the color black. So this is 28 count Jubilee. It's an even weave and it's in like a mint green. And I finished the black all in here, which is nice. So that was good. Next time I'll pick the next color with the next most stitches. I have them sorted with least amount left to most amount left, and the next, they're all in the, you know, 250, 225 to 250, kind of around there is how many are left with each color, which is similar to Bear Time Stories. They're kind of at the same point with each color that's next. So I'll pick the next one and work on that. I was watching Laura, the I Stitch Birds, yesterday with her glorious 4-hour update video that she posted not like a week ago, maybe. I didn't finish it yet. But I was watching that, and she was saying on one of hers, I think it was her chicken that she was working on. She had it sorted and was working on the color with the most stitches left. And she kept working on that color until it was no longer the color with the most stitches. And then she worked on the next color with the most stitches until it kind of resorted, and then worked on the next one with the most stitches as it was resorting. Like maybe do a whole length of thread and then see what happens. And if it's still the color with the most stitches, do another length of thread. That's a unique idea. So I'm not sure if I want to do that on this one or Bear Time Stories, or maybe go back and forth between least amount and that method. I'm not sure. But that sounded kind of fun, so I might try that at some point here. The next one that came up was Autumn Calico Cat. On Thursday, it was a 76. Oh, and the very next day was also 76. So 2 days in a row. I don't think I have this one filed yet. This is by Vipsters, and it's so pretty. I started this in like November or something. It's pretty recent start, so it's kind of fun to get right back to it. And same with the bees on the flower. Like, ooh, I get to work on this again already? This is fun. So I worked on this 2 times. They're a half hour each time. The first time was 105 stitches. The next time was 100 stitches even. And it's now at 5.23%. So this is fun. It's on navy Lugana, 25 count, 1/1, full cross. And so I'm picking stitches up here in this flower in particular, and then the next one's over here. Symbol choosing along the 10 by 10 grid along the top. But a lot of these ones, I did what I could up here, and then some of them were also down here in the cap. I think there's some flowers appearing too down here in the cap. So some of it ended up down here, which I'm not mad about. I'm like, I still have stuff on my needle. Should I count down? Nothing was really too close here, but then I'm like, oh, I can count down from here. So that's what I did. Super fun. So that's enjoyable. And all of these on my temperature daily 30 are in Pattern Keeper, so it's nice to just kind of have that ease of using the pattern for the 30 minutes. So that's one less headache to try to overcome in that 30 minutes. I just pull out the fabric, pull out Pattern Keeper, and go. Because I use my master set of DMC for everything. So that's just, it's easy, really easy. So then the last one I worked on Sunday was Cat Bulk Shelf, which was kind of fun. This is another one that's brand new. I just started this, I think at the end of November. It's part of the Spangler Book Club sale that Kim Hollenbeck, Spartan Stitcher, that she started. So I'm doing, this is by Randall Spangler, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm doing just this one right here. So it's all of this I just marked off on Pattern Keeper, and this one, as I'm not going to do them, I'm just going to do one little strip. When it's done, I'll just probably make it into an actual bookmark. It's going to be small. So let's see. It's so tiny. This one, a lot of times when I'm doing my half hour, I do my Bible audio listening to for the day, and sometimes it's longer than a half hour. So with this one, I had thread on my needle. I had like a chapter or two to finish listening to, so I just kept going. So I got 264 half stitches, which is a little bit more than I would normally have gotten in a half hour, but it's fine. Finished my string. I think I did 2 strings. Maybe, yeah. So this is where I got to. It's now at technically 92.87% of the entire pattern, but I don't know how much it is from just this sliver. But this is 28 count Water Lily Jobelin 2/1 half stitch. So that's another reason why I went really so many stitches. It's a half stitch. So that's fun. I'm almost done picking symbols. I was picking just this very tippity top row, picking symbols, and then I'll go to the whole choosing in the 10 by 10 square. I can't remember. I think it might have had a line right here actually from 10 by 10 squares. I'm not sure. Either that or it was just easy because it was the very top. But I have a couple more symbols right here to choose, and then I'll do my 10 by 10 choosing after that. So that was fun to work on that one. So I think, what else do I have that didn't get done? Oh, the Meadow did not come out yet. Butterfly Rose Cross and Cherry Kitten also didn't come out yet. So, but I got a lot of different things that came out with that. So that was fun. All right, back to the beginning, back to when I filmed last on December 28th. My main project for the day, I was still working on finishing up a section of the Twisted Christmas Sampler, which I started on Christmas Day. I wanted to get this band done and the dividing band after it to kind of have a nice stopping point. So I did. I am doing this with all the called for DMCs and Delicas, and the only change, I am doing like a sparkly fabric, which is not necessarily recommended, and then I switched the cry neck to petite treasure braid, but other than that, everything's the same. So here is this one. and I had fun with that. So got those packages finished. They're specialty stitches in the bows of the presents, and the bands are satin stitches with a DMC variegated Christmas floss, which she recommends as something to do. I technically started this band one stitch too close to this dividing band, so this one is one stitch too close. So I just made this band one stitch too close as well, so it would have an even margin on the inside, and the rest of it should be fine. It won't be affected by being too close. So I think, now that I think about it, it's possible that this will now be slightly too narrow for each remaining band, but it's not going to be that big of a deal, because as you can see, it doesn't actually end like at the exact edge with all the bands. There's sometimes an extra stitch charted that way, so I think it'll be fine. So this is 32 count raw silver linen, 2/2 for the cross stitches, and then there's a few beads in there you can see here, and some white beads here. So yeah, it was a fun start, and I did a little bit more on it that day just to get that band done. And then my next piece that I worked on that day and Sunday was one of my Whip Go pieces for December. Here it is. And that's End of the Ball. So this Whip Go piece had some success. My next one, not so much. I kept wanting to maybe go back to it, but because of all the temperature stitching and other bits and bobs that I wanted to do with my free time, it was like, I don't have time to get back to this one. So I feel bad about my other one, but this one I got a decent amount done on. The End of the Ball by Golden Kite. I mainly am just up here in the background. I realized now that I'm seeing the cover page, I didn't go back and look. I have reached the edge here of this like curtain, which is cool. So this is like a doorway, I think, that had a curtain. There's a shadow, and then this will be like the front of this wall with the wallpaper. So some of these colors kind of start going down the edge instead of continuing on, because it's dark right here and not right here. So that was kind of fun to know I reached that point. So I did 237 half stitches on Saturday and 615 on Sunday for a total of 852 half stitches. So not a full 1,000, which would have been nice, but I'll take it. And this is 24 count Congress cloth, like ivory, I think, 2/1 half stitches. It's now at 3.94%. So it's a big one. But I was choosing symbols here in the 10 by 10 square up top, and I never made it into their faces at all, but I did work down this way. I think this is the end of the curtain. So this part will be like the wall with that wallpaper, geometric wallpaper, which will be kind of fun to stitch too. A lot of browns in this one, but overall I really like the picture. It does seem like a lot of these antiquities paintings over at Golden Kite are dull, are kind of a browner color, which is like my Empress Eugenie. I was considering restarting it because there are versions out there now that are brighter. And I was playing around with like recharting my own picture, because I found a bright picture on like Wikipedia artists, or like artwork page, and I was going to chart it myself, but I can't make it necessarily look any nicer than the version I have with the program I have. So I'm not sure yet what I'll do with Empress Eugenie, if you guys remember that one, but because it's a big one, and so part of me is like, do I even want to keep stitching this one and just UFO it? Do I want to just pick a part of it? I'm not sure. That's a problem for another day, but I enjoyed working on End of the Ball a little bit. Petal Fairy, on the other hand, my last Whip Go piece for December did not get 2 days. It got part of 1 day. And so this one technically means I don't have a WIPCO blackout for 2024, which is a little sad, but, and I'll get to it this year, hopefully, but I had plans of more I wanted to do. We played games on New Year's Eve. I didn't get to it. And then life happened and I had too many other stitching things I wanted to do and I just didn't get any more done. So here is where this one's at. This is on a really pretty, it's never quite shows up right in camera, but it's a really pretty green linen, what is it called? Cream de Menthe, I think, by Needle Bling Designs. It's a 32 count. So I don't know if you can see that, but I had all this pink from her dress done already, so that's all I did, is that purple in her wing. I was trying to work my way up, and so I still have purple on my needle to finish out the string. That's all the purple that goes up in this area, so come on. So I was gonna finish the string going down and then pick the next symbol that would help me head up her wing, but I didn't get there. The main color that would be nice is to go up this soft color, which I think is Krynic. So I was gonna go check and see if I had that in stock and then in stash, and then work my way up her wing, and then I can catch the stem to come over and do the flowers, because they're technically the top thing in this thing. So I was thinking, well, let's do that instead of going up to her head, because there's a lot more up here, and if I spend time up here after her head's done, then I'll be touching her head too much, I think, with the way I hold my fabric. So I was gonna head up her wing and head over the flowers, and that was my plan. I didn't do it. So this one will come back out, I'm thinking March, because I started it in March. It's probably 2 years ago now, which is really sad, but I think I started this in March, and that's the next point I'll have that has some free spaces. So I think I'll pull this out in March. Give it some proper time, hopefully. All right, so on to what I worked on in the new year. The new year now, I am playing Bringo with the Magazine Monthly Challenge group on Facebook. So they have a bingo board. I arranged mine randomly, so my numbers are all over the place. They have prompts for each number. So I guess this one, I worked on this one last night, so I have like an upside down L. This is today. Robin Christmas Patchwork will be today. So this has been fun. I know what I'm going to work on, but I don't know when I'm going to work on it. So I have my gift stitching and my focus pieces that WIPCO chose for me, and my seasonal Sunday piece are all in here, plus a few others that are just whips that met the prompts. So I'm excited. It's really fun every day to go into the Facebook group and kind of find out what I'm supposed to be working on the next day, because she usually calls it in the evening for the next day. So the first one that was called, I guess was my Shine Bright sampler. This is on my WIPCO board for January because it's one of my focus pieces to try to finish this year. So it's on my board 4 times. Each time on the board will be 4 days. So this got called twice already here in January. It should get called 2 more times. Yes, it made it on my board 4 times. So the first time I worked on it on New Year's Day did not get a lot done, but I did a lot yesterday when it got called. So I'm happy. This one was for something that reminds you of a family picnic. And since it's based on a quilt, I thought, well, you use a quilt at a picnic. And then also the one for yesterday was something with flowers, and there is 1 flower in here. So this is 40 count fiber on a whim in Morganite. It's 1/2 full cross. So I reached the bottom, which is fun. So I was working on this symbol, this motif mainly. There's just so many color changes, so it's been kind of slow. Because then you have to count. If you finish the little triangle, you have to count, tie it off, count to the next one, and I don't know. There's some more of this green down here, but I didn't want to count to it yet. So I ended up finishing the green, putting it back, doing the gray, which then I did this gray and then this gray, and I could count easily to that gray. So this is now all the gray is done, which is really nice. Color completed. And this is the bottom of the design. So that felt good. Next time I'll pick up whatever this color is And these, I think that one and these, there's a little bit more in this motif. And wherever those, I can maybe color complete everything else at this point now that I have some like markers all over to count to. So that'll be fun. So this one I would really, really, really want to get done this year. So hopefully I can make some good progress every time it comes out on bingo board, on my whip go board. And so hopefully it will also not take 4 calls on my whip go board. That'd be really nice. Because once I finish things on there, I'll replace them with the next things that are closest to a finish. And I want to try to chip away at more than the 6 pieces that are on the board currently. I guess I'll leave that out. I also worked on ranunculus once. This was called for your choice. So that's the one I had picked for your choice. So, because I was excited to work on that. What actually happened with that one, so I had originally put my Simpsons piece on my Bringo board because it was a gift stitch. And then I decided, oh, ranunculus is still out here. Then I decided that because Simpsons made the cut for the top 10 things with the least amount of stitches remaining in Pattern Keeper, and now it's on my Temperature Daily 30, I took it off of my gift stitch rotation for focus time on my focus days and put ranunculus in its place. So this one took the 2 spots on my Bringo board that had Simpsons, and they managed to fit perfectly. One of them was something that's for a gift and your choice. I'm like, well, this works for that too. So when your choice came up, it was great. I worked on this. This is the first time in a while that I've actually worked on this like all my focus time and not just a 30-minute chunk. So that was nice. I did a little bit when I first started it extra, but I was happy with progress. I got 507 half stitches on this, and it's now at 8.64%. This is 24 count Congress cloth in light mocha, I think. 2/1 half stitches. And I am picking symbols across the it's like an 8x10 grid along the top. And then I have some on my needle right now that's coming down here in this dark patch. And it'll be like around here. So I'm getting across the top. Super fun. Love the colors in this one. So that one is on my board 2 more times. On my Bringo board 2 more times. It will hopefully come out 2 days every month to get some nice work on. And then on my Bringo board, I had a square that my friend Colette, the highway stitcher, I asked her to pick any of my projects, and she picked that one. So it happened to be put on my Bringo board 3 times, so I'm not mad about it. I love that one. So the next 2 days were bear time stories. One was favorite designer, which I chose Heaven and Earth Designs just because the sheer number of things that I have started by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's not necessarily my favorite because I have like a lot of favorites, but if you look at the amount of things I've started by them, they win. So I'm like, well, that counts. This is by Randall Spangler, the mini. This one's for my middle son. This one also was called for Reminds You of Growth because it's a cute children's scene with a teddy bear and, you know, dragons and reading a bedtime story. And my son is 14 now. He's taller than me. He still likes teddy bears and dragons and reading books. And he still loves this pattern. So I'm not worried about that. But it does remind me of him and how much he's growing up. So I thought that fit. This one I got the first day 233 half stitches. The next day only 103 half stitches. But I managed to finish a collar. And it is now at 28.21%. I finished this is 40 count Verdal 1/1 half stitches. And I finished the blue that I was working on in the pillow. There's a few other little bits. The next color I chose was just the next one on the list that was the least amount of stitches remaining. Only so far it's been like onesies and twosies along edges. It's like a darker, like a 779, so it's like a dark brownish reddish color. But it's not block stitching. It's lots and lots of counting, so it's going to take a long time to get that color done, which is kind of annoying. But so that's what made me wonder if I should go do this one a little differently and kind of do it maybe I could do like finish a color with the least amount of stitches and then go and work on the color with the most amount of stitches until it's no longer the most amount of stitches, and then go back to the next color with the least amount of stitches, finish that one, and then go back to the new most stitches and work on that color until it's no longer the most stitches. You know, that might help because those ones with the most stitches are going to have a lot of block colors. So block sections. And I think I need that sometimes. So maybe I'll do a little bit of Laura's method and then a little bit of mine and go back and forth. Maybe I'll try that on Bear Time Stories because I think that'll be nice. So I got my 2 days on that, went back to Shine Bright for a second day, and that was all the main stitches. I did have a few new starts thrown in here, just little bits of them. So they'll get more time here and there. But on New Year's Day, I started the Little Owl Patchwork Sampler. This is a mystery stitch along, so we only have the first quarter. I'll put a picture here because I didn't want to print out the cover page this early. But I'm doing all the called for floss, but my own fabric. So I chose a Bee Stitch Me 25 count. I went with Frost, and this is the start. One length down, one length over, 1/1 full cross. It's so fun to work on. It's a little better with the blue. I think the white will be, it won't pop as much as it may have on a darker fabric, but I was comparing the saturation, I guess, of this fabric versus the called for fabric, and they're very similar. The called for fabric was not super dark either. So as much as I liked like the mushroomy tan color that was an option I showed last time, or the gray color, I think the whites would have showed up better on either of those than either the called for or this one. But all the other colors seem to sing on this fabric. I was like, oh, I really want to stitch it on that fabric. So I did. So this is Frost by Bee Stitch Me. And it is, yeah, more of a blue. So I was only planning to give it a few stitches just to say I started it, maybe a length of thread. So I went down here and I just like, I really, really liked that. So the next day I did another length of thread this way. This is almost to the halfway point on either side. This is a square design. The Robin Christmas one was a rectangle, longer, taller than it was wide. And that one seems a lot bigger than this one. This one seems smaller, which is nice. And I kind of had plans to maybe do a length of thread every day in addition to everything else, just because I liked it so much, but then it never happened any other day after these two. I'm planning to work on this when I talk with my mom and sister. And then, so I think at this point, I'll talk to my sister tomorrow. So I'll probably not work on this anymore except for calls, but we'll see, because I'm really enjoying it. And they'll give you a new part every 2 weeks. I think the 15th is the next part. So, there's a slim chance I might keep up on it. I don't know. Because it's so much fun. And I'm kind of wishing I had looked for a different fabric for the Christmas one. I really like the way the white pops on the fabric they gave me, but I do have some green 25 count even weave, or even 28 that I could have done it on, but I think I've done too much now to switch it. So I'm gonna just go ahead and finish it on that. But those little over one stitches are just like my sweet spot. I love it. Speaking of Robin Christmas, that will come out today for my Bringo stitching for the main thing. That's for a non-US designer because Historical Sampler Company is in the UK. So what else did I start? I started Her Journey very briefly. Oh yeah, and I started Books of the Bible very briefly, which I showed you already in travel stitching. So that one's already done. Her Journey, I started on the 1st as well, along, I think, with Ebony. I never managed to remember to send her a picture, so I don't know if she started hers or not. So Ebony, Stitches with Ebony, was planning to start this on the 1st as well, so I'm not sure if she did. Once I cut my fabric, I realized I wasn't sure if I wanted to roll it up horizontally and have such a big roll. So I decided to roll it up vertically, which meant instead of starting here, I was starting here, which is a little different than what I was originally planning. So I did a little bit in this like blue section, which is still pretty. I was kind of wanting the blues and pinks. Now I'll get blues and blacks. But I will give this 2 solid normal days at the end of the month after Bringo. But I just got the tiniest of starts. This is 40 count linen 1/1 half stitches on smoke. Let me see. I think I wrote it down. Silver Moon. 40 count Silver Moon by Zweigart. So that's my start. I got 84 half stitches. It's at 0.22%. So there's my start. I'll give it a proper start, a proper 2 days at the end of the month. So, and I think that's everything that I worked on. So yeah, so I'm excited to keep going with this, with Bringo picking my main project for the day, and Temperature Daily 30 picking a little bonus project, and travel stitching as I can. Definitely not as much still this week because my kids are still home. But we'll see. I'll do what I can. And I hope you have a wonderful week working on whatever you have going on, and happy stitching. Bye.